Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Brittnee. Today I'm going to show you how you can make your own homemade nut praline paste. Today I'll be making pistachio praline, but you can use these same measurements and this same technique for any other nut. You may have tried praline paste before, already made. In fact, I have some here in my fridge. This is hazelnut praline. It needs to be stirred. It's a little oily, but this is made by Calibut. I sometimes use this to make a hazelnut chocolate ganache for a bonbon filling. I love this one. It can be pretty expensive or even really hard to find, but to me the flavor is really nice and balanced and the texture is so smooth. If you've never purchased praline paste before, picture the consistency and smoothness or texture of like Nutella. When you make your own at home, you will definitely notice that you won't be able to get it as smooth as when you buy it. It will most likely be a little bit grainy still, which is okay. Having some extra texture isn't a bad thing. Just depends on what you're looking for. To be honest though, I definitely prefer buying praline just for the ease and the consistency. But today I'll show you how you can make it at home yourself if you want to. So let's get started. Here are the supplies and ingredients that you'll need. A good thermometer, a sheet tray, and a silicone baking mat, a nice pot that works well for cooking sugar, a cup of water and a pastry brush, a food processor, a mortar and pestle if you're really motivated to get a smooth texture, 10 ounces of shelled roasted pistachios or a nut of your choice, 3 ounces water, and 10 ounces of caster sugar. Now, if you start with raw nuts, you'll want to peel or shell them and then toast them in the oven yourself before starting this process. I bought my pistachios already shelled and roasted, so I'm ready to go. The first thing that you're going to do is pour the water into your pot. Then pour the sugar down into the center of the water and turn your stove onto medium-high heat. In the beginning, you can gently stir the sugar so that it's distributed into the water evenly. Then wash the sides of the pot down and just leave it to cook. You're going to cook the sugar until it reaches about 224 degrees Fahrenheit or 118 degrees Celsius. While your sugar cooks, take a heat gun and warm up your nuts a little bit. You don't want the temperature of the nuts to be drastically different than the cooked sugar. Once you reach that 224 degrees Fahrenheit, turn off the heat and add the nuts straight into the sugar. Here, you're going to stir them in and your sugar is going to recrystallize. Keep stirring until all the nuts have an even coat and your sugar turns white and grainy. Now, here's the hardest part, in my opinion. In fact, I should have mentioned earlier that the larger the pot, the easier this part is because it has more surface area on the bottom. But anyway, next you'll place your pot back onto the stove and remelt the sugar on medium heat. This step is difficult because you want to melt all the crystallized sugar without getting the sugar too hot and burning it, and also without agitating the sugar too much again and crystallizing it again. So basically you need to melt the bottom layer, then carefully fold it over so that eventually all your sugar is liquid again and has caramelized a bit. I'll be honest, whenever I've made praline, I get a pretty deep caramel just by simply trying to get all the sugar melted. But once you finally get there, take the nuts off the stove and immediately dump them onto your silicone baking mat. Spread it out as best you can and leave it to set up at room temperature. Once your sheet of sugar and nuts has cooled and is hard, break it up into pieces. Next, you'll put the pieces into the freezer for a little while. I don't time it, but probably just around like 10 minutes. This is to get them cool so that you'll have a bit of a head start with the food processor. When you're ready to grind the paste, grab the pieces from the freezer and just plop them into the food processor. Remind yourself to be patient during this step because it takes a while to get a paste. First, you'll get a dry crumb that almost feels like sand, and it feels too dry to ever become a paste, but don't worry, it will. Throughout the process, you may have to pull apart the food processor a couple times and scrape down the container to get everything chopped evenly. As you're doing this, you also want to keep checking that the mixture doesn't get too hot. If it gets really warm, place it back in the freezer for a bit and then continue. After a while, you will see it start to form a new stage, which almost looks like dough. You'll think you're getting close to the paste, but when you touch it, it's still pretty firm. Just keep going and eventually you'll have a more fluid, but still thick paste that looks like this. And if you're super motivated, you can take a little at a time into your stone grinder and try to get out the graininess. But honestly, I think if you're making it homemade, just embrace the texture because grinding is a lot of work. All right, guys, that is how you make homemade pistachio praline. I hope that you liked the video and that you learned something new. If you did, let me know down below by leaving me a like and a comment. My next video is all about the viral Dubai chocolate bar, and in that video, I will be using this homemade pistachio praline to make the filling. So watch out for that if you're interested. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, today's the day. If you'd like to see something else that's sweet, just click on one of these thumbnails. Thanks so much for watching today, and I'll see you soon. Bye.